Everybody, what's going on? This is Elon from Inside Fighting, and this episode is going to be different than all the others because I'm going to cover a martial art that most of you probably already know, and I'm not going to cover it in the way that you think I would. I'm going to talk about Capoeira Regional specifically as a brutal combat fighting style. Totally weird angle on the system, but stay tuned because I have a lot of reasons to back it up. Video evidence as well. My thesis shall begin right after this.
Pow pow, inside fighting, yeah, dangerous martial arts. Pow pow, ooh ah.
Okay, so you heard what I said, and it made you feel uncomfortable, made you feel weird, and I know, because when you look at capoeira, it looks like this kind of dance martial art, this funky dance martial art that everyone knows about, that takes you back to your favorite fighting games, Tekken, Eddie Gordo, I think his name is, and there's a lot around capoeira that I think made it hyper popular for good reason. It's incredibly beautiful. It's incredibly acrobatic. It's a great fitness martial art. It has a lot of aspects to it that involve rhythm, music, camaraderie. But then there's this other side to capoeira that no one talks about. And it's tied into the roots of capoeira. Now, in case you don't know, capoeira is an Afro-Brazilian martial art, and it had to do with African slaves hiding the way they fought within this dance because fighting was illegal. And there's some stories that people used to pretty much put knives on their feet. And if you look at like Capoeira Angola and even Regional, there's movements like this because their hands were shackled. So there's a huge cultural aspect to capoeira. But what people don't talk about is that initial root of fighting being such a relevant part of the system. Capoeira is a fighting system. And I see so many videos online talking about, oh, capoeira is useless. Capoeira wouldn't work in a street fight. Capoeira this, capoeira that. Let me just first talk about the attributes that capoeira builds. Capoeira builds incredible attributes for fighting. And when you're looking at a martial art, again, you're not looking at an end all in every single martial art. You're looking at what the martial art gives you that will then benefit you for your goal. And let's say in this case, the goal is street fighting. So what does capoeira give you? It gives you incredible endurance, incredible, what's the word? Proprioception. I've used this before and it's confused me, but this awareness of your body and where you are in the world. That's an incredibly valuable skill for fighting. Capoeira guys are only beaten by gymnasts, in my opinion, in that world. They know where they are at all times. You will not off balance a capoeira guy, which is the next part. Their balance. They are able to achieve balance in the worst possible situations. They're also able to close distance incredibly fast. Their timing is unbelievable. Their agility is unbelievable. Look, I can go on and on. Capoeira gives you a bunch of physical attributes that are wonderful, both for fighting and in life in general. Most capoeira guys I know, when they transition to jiu-jitsu, they are unstoppable at it. And I actually started training capoeira because I thought it was a great supplement to my jiu-jitsu. There's a lot in capoeira that people kind of like when you look at karate bunkai, or karate kata, they don't understand what it's actually doing. Well, in capoeira, a lot of the time, these movements have direct application to your grappling. The way you move on the ground is directly connected to the movements you see in capoeira. It makes your hips incredible. It makes the way you backspin to pass a guard incredible, or to go into S-mount. It makes your double legs incredible. It gives you all these skill sets that directly translate to grappling. Now, to say that capoeira is completely useless is, let me just give you some case studies right here, but there's two fighters that come to mind. There's Marcus Aurelio. For some reason, I'm going into like Roman times and gladiator, but yeah, Marcus Aurelio, who's an MMA fighter who has the most famous knockout arguably in MMA history. And I'm just going to show it to you before you say that these moves don't work. Oh, I must extend the screen first, and here we go. So as you can see, he's actually moving like a capoeira guy. He's using that footwork. He's not jingaing as much as you see, but that's pure capoeira. What you'll see a lot of capoeira guys lose when they start fighting is the jinga. But man, and there's the knockout. Don't tell me a meia lua de compasso doesn't work in a fight. It works in the ring. Would I do it in a street fight? Probably not, but I definitely wouldn't want to get hit by one in a street fight. We have to watch that one more time because the movement there is very, very beautiful. So let's just take it back. He literally uses pure capoeira to knock this guy out. And here we go. He's going to start spinning. He's generating that momentum. And capoeira kicks generate arguably the most force out of any kick in the world. Here he is again, just spinning around like a video game character. Literally, if number one, you should train capoeira just so you could do that when you win a fight. It's just cool to win a fight and then start spinning like that. You automatically get street cred. But let's fast forward. Here he is just being a total beast because of these physical attributes he's developed from capoeira. Again, Melu de Compasso. I would not want to get hit by that. Again, right over there. So he's pulled this off numerous times. I don't know why they're showing this because this has nothing to do with anything. This is just like a demo. But again, here, spinning, crazy flying jump kicks. This guy's just a total maniac. It gives you the ability to be confident in almost any situation. People will be like, I would just punch him in the face. Obviously, it's not that simple. And trust me, I've played around with capoeira guys. They develop so much strength and so much speed. And when those legs are flying at you, like here we have Michel Pereira, he's my other example. It's really hard to fight a guy who's a maniac like this, who has so much power and speed behind him. It opens up everything else. And then look, they all have the best fight finishing moments. Capoeira guys really impress me. Like, they're just flipping all over the place. They're happy. But okay, so I was talking about the dark history of capoeira. Here we're seeing examples of capoeira as an effective combat sport. Obviously, you need to cross-train a little bit, but people don't understand. A lot of the time when you're in the roda, I can't say it properly, you're developing a lot of timing and a lot of skills that, again, directly translate to fighting. And that's what I want to get into today. I have a couple more examples here of different styles. Let me turn down the music there. But here we have capoeira versus bocator, which might be the most random crossfight in the history of MMA. But he's using these capoeira moves. It's very hard. Doing it kind of sloppy there, but he's actually pulling it off. It's crazy that these things work, but they do work. And they work obviously even in the UFC because we saw Michel Pereira pull him off. I have another example here of kind of what I wanted to talk about, which is the Roda's getting a little bit more aggressive. Now, this is important. This is the true root of capoeira right here. This is like if you wanted to look at the purpose, these guys start off by kind of swinging at each other politely, but things escalate out of nowhere. Out of nowhere in the Roda, or Roda in Brazil, as they would call it, things can escalate into pure aggression. And it's like extremely quick and scary when it happens. I have personal experience with this. I've been to capoeira classes where out of nowhere, there's a kind of misinterpretation of a movement. Someone gets caught and then it explodes into a full-blown war. And this kind of changed my perspective of capoeira, having seen this a few times. These egos come into play. And, the truth is I call it the dark side of capoeira, but it's not. It's actually the purest form of capoeira. Capoeira is a fight. See, here it's playful. He was actually just showing the guy very cleanly, I can hit you in the head and I can knee you. And that's really what capoeira should be. It should be placing instead of hitting. But I think that escalated it to the point where they wanted to fight. Just showing that. Now they're in a full-blown fight. Someone's ego was hurt. These guys are slamming each other. And what you will notice about capoeiristas is they have some of the sneakiest, most effective takedowns out of anyone. Out of anyone. Their ability to kick you and then sneak into a takedown. And I know I've talked about other styles like Ashihara, Sanda, and all these things. Yes, but they will not teach you to do a takedown like capoeira. Capoeira has these entries that you just will not find elsewhere. And because of their attributes, these physical attributes that they develop, they can go from a spinning kick into like a scissor takedown.
I don't even know how two women can make love unless they just kind of scissor or something.
Oh yeah! Scissor me, Xerxes!
So smooth and so quick that it's really hard to stop it. And again, you look, things are escalating here into takedowns and into an actual fight. And I have seen this repeatedly, and they don't mind it a lot of the time. They will let you battle it out. It seems playful, but you have to remember the birthplace of capoeira is in fighting, arguably deadly fighting if the stories of the knives and everything are true. So that kind of history, I think it's in the system. Hey, you just gave him a little punch to the ribs. Saw that? Now things are on. let him know things are on. The other guy's laughing, but the other guy, because he's massive. There's so many big jacked capoeira dudes also, but now it's a fight. Doesn't even wait. So let's talk about what's lost in the fight. Like I said, you lose the jinga, right? The jinga is totally lost when capoeira guys start fighting, that kind of rhythm and movement of the jinga. But what you do keep, again, is the ability to go in and out very quick, to catch people with takedowns very effectively, and to generate a ton of power off your kicks. And there's always smacking in the hoda too. So I wouldn't underestimate their ability even to use their hands. And there you go. It's a fight. There's not many other systems, like, to be fair, that do this, that just gather around and say, okay, we're going to play around until it turns into a fight. And then it turns into a full blown fight. And they allow you to grapple each other. They allow you to do whatever you want. And I know there's going to be a lot of capoeira people say, no, that's not our system. But I have personally seen this happen a few times. Maybe I'm just unlucky. But it's a reality of the system. I'm showing a lot of footage today because I think I really just didn't want to talk about like capoeira history and all the stuff that everyone already knows. I wanted to show this part of it. And I researched, I found a bunch of videos where it gets a little bit more aggressive, high elbows, playing a little bit more, and escalations. And I think that's kind of the most interesting. They cut it off before it could continue. They saw it was getting heated. They said, you know what, let's cool it down. And but they're going right back at it. And anytime they go right back at it, you know where that ends up. They're just going right back to fighting. There you go. He doesn't want any of it. Truth is, for me, I mean, I would have kind of like a certain degree of enjoyment letting it escalate because I suck at capoeira and I'm good at jiu-jitsu, and that seems like where they like to go, to the ground. So see that right away. And again, they just kind of go right back in there. And I'm coming to the end of it, but I have a couple more examples here. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. You see the direct connection between this and guys like Michel Pereira and Marcus Aurelio, where they take these skill sets and they put them directly into MMA. I mean, you combine this with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and just learn a little bit of boxing. You probably have a very, very effective, unique way to approach street fighting or even MMA. Okay, so there we go. So let's just do some final thoughts here. I'm back. I hope you enjoyed those little clips. Here are my final thoughts. Capoeira. Okay, I mean, I always do this. What are the positives and negatives of the system? So the positives and negatives of the system in the context of what I was describing here today is that it's this beautiful art, but it also has a very complex background that shouldn't be forgotten, shouldn't be ignored, and shouldn't be erased. I think that it's important that capoeira is preserved as a fighting style and got more respect for it because that's where its roots are. I think it's great that it's become popularized through these other things, but I think it would be kind of cool if there was a little bit more of this threat and aspect of it in a lot more capoeira schools where, you know, things were allowed to escalate a little more. Call me crazy. Call me a violent man. Call me out of control. But again, I think there's, you know, the martial aspect to martial arts. I always talk about how you have to appreciate the art aspect. Here, you also have to appreciate the martial aspect. I feel like the art aspect has gotten so much attention that people don't really want to look and acknowledge this aspect of the fighting style, which is brutal but beautiful. Again, so positives of capoeira is those physical attributes it gives you, those sneaky takedowns it gives you, the incredible power behind your kicks, and kind of the amazing ability to time things and react off of other people in a way that I've never done before. I'm so used to kind of being tight and blocking things, maybe not stiff, like I'm relaxed when I fight, but not in the sense of like, if you're kicking at me, I'm going to move with the motion of your kick and kick you. That's just a skill set I haven't developed like these guys have. So, yeah, I love capoeira and I love fighting. And I love that capoeira is fighting. I don't know what's happening with my accent. This is a weird video. Please like and subscribe, guys.